Hey guys, and welcome to another TBR video. But before I get into the TBR, I'm going to be talking to you guys about all the books I read this summer. So I'm going to do a little summer wrap up because I've decided that I think I'm just going to do seasonal TBRs and wrap ups instead of monthly like I know other book channels do, because I simply don't read that enough books to do a monthly TBR, because I literally, every book I've read, I've only read 9 books in this whole summer. I'm a slow reader, so this is just what you're getting. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about because I did do a summer, I don't know if I did I think I did a summer TBR plus like book recs for the summer. So go check out that video if you haven't already, but I'm gonna be telling you guys what I read off of that TBR and the other books that I read that weren't on that TBR. So yeah, I think we should just get started. I'm gonna start off with my summer wrap up and then give you guys the books I plan to read in this upcoming fall season. I'm gonna start out with the books that I had on my TBR that I read, starting off with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So the ACOTAR series, this is a very widely loved and recommended fantasy series. If you've been watching my book videos, I've been talking about this basically all year about how I planned on reading it this summer and how I have been reading it this summer. So this was one of the very first books I read this summer actually, and I loved it. I was not expecting to love it as much as I do, but I fully understand the hype. I rated it 4 stars just because it's, you know, it's the first book in a series, so it's just kind of introducing you to everyone, setting up the story for, you know, the next books to come. So not like too much happened until like the very end, but loved it. Very good introduction. It's very easy to get into. Like, I know I've heard that there's some other fantasy books that are just like really hard to like understand and like get into the world, but very easy to get into. It is basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and you can very much like see that in like mostly the beginning of the book. And then I guess I'll show you guys, I also read A Court of Mist and Fury, a little bit of a thicker book. I rated this a 5 out of 5 because I feel like this one is like everyone's favorite of the series, and it's probably one of my favorites so far. I'm in ACOWAR right now, and I'm kind of loving that a little bit more than this one because everyone says that there's more politics in ACOWAR, so apparently I enjoy that more than what was in here, but I loved this as well. 5 out of 5. Loving the series so far. You know, again, it's just more of the story. I feel like you're really getting into it in this book. Loved Akamoth, love Rhysand, love Feyre, I love them. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't expecting some of the stuff, but I'm loving the series so far, so very excited to continue on and just have like a new series that I can love. Of course, I also had to pick up Ali Hazelwood's new book, Love Theoretically. On Goodreads, I rated it a 4 out of 5, but I think I'm giving this a 5 stars. I think this is my favorite book by her so far. I do love The Love Hypothesis though. I don't know, I feel like those two, that one and this one, are tied for my favorite books by her, and then Love on the Brain is just second because I like it, but it wasn't as good. And this has a lot more like sciencey talk in it, but I kind of enjoyed that, and just like the politics of having a job in STEM, because I'm never gonna know firsthand because I'm not that smart. But yeah, loved Love Hypothesis. I love the use of fake dating, but she wasn't fake dating the main character. She was fake dating his brother through an app, and then, you know, it's low-key a little bit of an enemies to lover type thing. Definitely love this. If you love her other books and you haven't read this one yet, pick this one up. So good. Binged it really fast. I'm not really going in order, the order that I read them in, but I also read Love in Other Words this summer finally. I feel like I'm really late to the game. Like, everyone already loves this book. Now I love it too. Another 5-star read for me. I'm pretty generous with my 5 stars, I will say, but I've gotten like more picky with my ratings recently because I'm like, okay, I can't give every book a 5-star. But as you can see, we already have 3 for this summer, but that's just because I'm reading all these books that I missed out on the past few years that everyone else has rated 5 stars, so now I'm rating them 5 stars. It's a childhood friends to lovers. If you don't know what it's about, childhood friends to lovers, and something happens and they don't speak for years and years and years, and then they, you know, meet up again later in life, and, you know, things happen. So I just love like the vibes, the cozy cabin. So good. Love it. 5 stars. And then relating to that one, I also read Every Summer After, because this was like my summer. I didn't read too many like super summery books this summer, even though I really wanted to. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I was a really harsh rater on this one, which isn't a bad rating. It's just I didn't love it because my mistake was reading it after, not after, but like pretty close to Love in Other Words, because it's another childhood friends to lovers, and then something happens and they don't speak for years and years. And it's where the girl comes up, you know, every summer and then lives far away from the guy. That's exactly what happens with Love in Other Words. So I don't know. It is very similar, but I still really enjoyed this one because it was a little bit of a different story. At some points, both of the main characters like kind of annoyed me because it's like, what? I don't know. I feel like they couldn't figure out what they were doing. I don't know. It was really good. I love the way it ended. I think the prologue really saved it, like made it really, really good at the end. Prologue? Epilogue. Why do I always call it the wrong thing? An epilogue. I feel like all these books are like mushing together in my brain, so I can't think of like things to say about it. But so those were all the books that I read that were from my TBR video. There were still a lot of them that I didn't necessarily get to that I said in that video, but I'll still be getting to them, you know, sometime soon. So this was a summer of me really getting into thrillers and like more non-romance books. I feel like obviously excited to try out fantasy and stuff now. So I also read, this was the very first book I read this summer, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I need to read more books by her. I just haven't had the chance to like sit down, and I feel like I'm gonna read so many thrillers in the fall, so very much looking forward to that because it's like, you know, Halloween scary thriller vibes. I don't know. This one is about a woman and she takes this job as a maid because she's living out of her car and she's, you know, a live-in maid. So she lives in the attic, but then one day she finds out that her bedroom door locks from the outside, which that says it all in the back, so I'm not spoiling anything. And so, you know, maybe she might get locked in there. Some things happen. It was really good. I did not guess the twists at all, and that's when you know it's a good thriller, is when you don't know what's coming. I rated it 5 out of 5. 5 stars for this one. And then the other thriller I read that again was not on my TBR was The House Across the Lake. If you guys want to see me read this, go check out my attempting to read a book in a day video from like last month sometime. I attempted to read this whole book in one day. Go see if I did that or not. Yeah, again, it was so good. I rated it 5 out of 5. I'm not sure. I might, like my ratings after a while, I feel like I need to not rate books right after I read them. And then I need to sit on them and rate them, you know, after I thought about it a little bit. I feel like it's more of a 4.5, 4.75. Very good, very twisty, turny. You never know what's gonna happen next, I feel like. Yeah, especially like the ending like really got me, so loved that one. 4.75 I'd say for the rating. And then now for the books I read on my Kindle, because this summer I invested in a Kindle, and I will say if you are thinking about it, if you're a paperback lover, physical book lover like I am, I'd say still get a Kindle, because Kindle Unlimited, like that was a reason that I bought a Kindle, was for Kindle Unlimited. So many free books on there, because even if you, I feel like it's a good way to test out a book, and if you start loving the book, then you can buy the physical copy and finish it, you know, on the physical copy. But then this way you're saving money, so if you don't necessarily love that book, you can just read it on your Kindle and not have to spend money on a physical book, if that makes sense, physical copy. So I read 2 books on my Kindle so far. I read Flawless by Elsie Silver, and I rated that 4 stars because I loved it. It was my very first like cowboy romance, I guess you could say, cowboy rodeo, whatever. So I feel like those were really big this summer, and so I wanted to try it out, especially the Chestnut Spring series. Like that was huge this summer. That was also a book that was actually on my summer TBR. So actually the whole series was, but I only read the first book. I read it kind of around the time I went to Cincinnati to see Taylor Swift, so that I like associate that time with this book. Absolutely loved it. It was like the girl is this rodeo guy's, she's trying to keep him in check and like fix his reputation or stuff like that. And you know, things happen. She lives on the ranch with him. I don't know, I loved the vibes. I'm not usually like a country girly, but I did love the vibes. And then the other book that I read on my Kindle, which I just finished a few days ago, was Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I rated that 4 out of 5. I was gonna rate it 5 out of 5, but I think it's more like 4.25 was probably my rating for it. I really liked it. There were just some things that I was like kind of cringing at and just didn't absolutely love about it. It was a really good book. It's a hockey romance. She's his assistant, and they went to high school together, and they like don't know if they both of them like remembers. It's dual POV, which I love. Yeah, so that was the other book I read on my Kindle this summer. So yeah, and I want to talk quickly about the books that I'm in the middle of right now, because technically I'll finish these by the end of summer, but they're not done yet. So A Court of Wings and Ruin, the next book in the ACOTAR series, even thicker. I'm working my way through it though. I'm on page 200 right now, so that's pretty good for me. I'm absolutely loving it. Like I can already tell this is gonna be a 5-star read for me, even maybe a 6-star. And then I just started our Scorching Summer. Loving it so far, only 1 chapter in. I have a feeling it's just gonna be a cute little like summery romance book, but I loved this cover and it's so floppy and satisfying to hold. So love that. I'm rambling. Let's get into my fall TBR. So I really needed to like carefully curate this TBR because in the fall time, I kind of slow down my reading, especially once school picks up. I just don't have as much time to read and I'm a slow reader. So all that combined leads to me reading like not that many books. Someone's having just such a hard day back here. So the first book that I'm most excited for in the fall, as I mentioned, I read Icebreaker back in January, and the second book in that series, Wildfire, is coming out in October sometime. I don't have it written down. So excited to read that. I will be heading to the bookstore the second it comes out. So excited to read that. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I just love Hannah Grace's writing. So the next book on my fall TBR is a book that everyone was raving about when it first came out, and that is Fourth Wing, which is another fantasy book. I don't know if I want to read this before I finish ACOTAR or not. I guess it depends because the second book in the series comes out soon also, I think in November. I definitely want to read this before because it's not even like too long of a book, and everyone says that they just like, you just eat this up, like it just goes so fast. So I definitely just want to finish this before that second one comes out, and then obviously the second one is also on my fall TBR, so I will be purchasing that once it comes out. I should probably pre-order it because I feel like it'll probably be really hard to get, just like this one was. Yeah, I just love the cover. I guess it's about dragons and like dragon training, dragon school. I'm not sure, but it has a map. I love the maps. Next thing I want to read in the fall is the Inheritance games and, you know, the whole series. Because apparently it's just like, not just like, but it's very similar to the movie Knives Out, which that is one of my favorite movies ever. Knives Out and then The Glass Onion. I feel like I like The Glass Onion more. I don't know which one I like more, but apparently it's very similar to Knives Out, so I'm very excited to dive into this. Just a fast little YA, what would you call this? Like, not thriller, but like, I don't know, but it looks really good. Like, I'm so excited to get into this, especially like, it just gives me fall vibes. Like, the cover is beautiful. So, and then also by the same author, another series, is the Natural series, because recently everyone's been raving about this series as well, which is actually like written a while ago, but it's just like really popular right now, which is kind of funny to me. But it's kind of like a YA Criminal Minds type thing, I've heard. Never seen Criminal Minds, so don't know what that means exactly. So I feel like it's, again, a very cozy little series to read. Then I mentioned I read Flawless in the summer, so I really want to just finish up that series because I know the last one is coming out in October, I believe. So I just want to catch up on that series and read that. I'll probably just read it on Kindle Unlimited. Heartless, Powerless, Reckless, and then Hopeless is coming out in October. So got a lot to catch up on, but that book went really fast for me, so I feel like I could just sit down and kind of like get through that pretty fast. And then, as I mentioned, I've been really into thrillers. I ordered this one like a few weeks ago, Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Everyone loves this author, especially her book Rock, Paper, Scissors, which I read like the description of it and it sounds good, but this one just sounded like better to me because it's like a murder mystery type thing, which sounds more interesting to me. So hopefully I don't regret not reading Rock, Paper, Scissors first. But if you think I should, let me know and I'll go and buy that, I guess, if I have to. The last book that I have on my fall TBR is The Silent Patient. Oh my god. And again, this is another like basic thriller that I feel like is really raved about a lot. It's about this woman who kills her husband and then never speaks another word, and this psychotherapist is trying to get her to tell her story, I believe, and then he like finds out other stuff along the way. So I've heard very mixed reviews about this. Like, I don't know, like people either love this or hate this book, I feel like. So I have a feeling I'll like it because I just go into books like expecting to enjoy them, if I'm being honest. So I'll probably really like this. Again, another perfect book for a perfect little rainy, cozy fall day. Those are all the books that I'm hoping to read this fall. It doesn't look like a lot when I'm holding it like this, but there's another book that goes with this one, 2 more with this one, 3 more with this one, and these, and then a few on my Kindle. So lots to get through this fall. Very excited. I feel like it's gonna be a really good reading season. I don't know. So those are all the books that I am hoping to get to, all the books I've read this summer. Let me know what you guys read this summer. Go follow me on my Bookstagram at Eden's Readings if you want to see more like kind of live updates and my opinions on these books as I finish them. And sometimes I'll post polls like help me, what should I read next on there. And I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye.